Welcome to Old Guy Tech,
the OGT.TV recording studio.
Technology for the rest of us.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Rob Charney with Old Guy Tech TV, and I'm here today with Sheriff John D'Agostini of El Dorado County. And once again, John, thank you for coming and spending some time. And what I'd like you to do out in the audience is give us a call. We'd love to take some calls. We want to hear what you want to know, because we can't answer your questions unless you give us a call and say, hey, I got this question. So for some of those of you who have been coming to me a lot about some concealed weapons permit issues, I thought I would just take a moment as one of their approved instructors and talk about some of the things for the records department that I can help them out. So one of the things we had was that Danette over at the records department, I talked to her today, and she said, you know, Rob, you could do me a favor. And so we're going to do a public service announcement. Due to funding and some of the other issues that are out there and manpower and just the sheer number of CCWs that are coming into the county, applications, John, right, that what we're talking about, that are coming in the county. Applications and renewal. It takes a lot of manpower to get through all of that. And so what Records is really asking is 90 days. They're saying, if you could do us a favor, and this is a favor, is get your renewal application and or your new application in together to Records 90 days prior, particularly on the renewals, prior to your expire. That would help out tremendously. And then we don't run into a situation where we've got some poor guy whose CCW expired for a couple, 3 weeks or whatever because of the lay date. And that happens to a lot of people because of it. It's not like it used to be. The good news is under John, we've got a lot more CCWs going out. The bad news is it's a lot of manpower.
More work.
So it's more work. So what we're looking for is to make sure that your office has an opportunity to have more time to do their job.
Right. Yeah, we have the same amount of staff that we had before we started issuing this amount of CCWs.
Right.
So we're doing
twice as much work.
800% more CCWs with the same amount of staff.
Okay.
So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. And some of the other things that occurred, I had a number of questions on my last class, and so I want to make sure we dispel some of the issues that are coming up. And one of them is, I had a guy that said, hey, I'm going in for a renewal, and for some reason they said I had to come in for an interview. My understanding is the only time that would happen is if you've got some kind of problem.
If there was an issue, yeah. There's no interview for a renewal process. It's simply go in with your renewal paperwork. They check to make sure there's nothing new that pops up,
right,
and it's done.
Right.
It's done.
Okay. But the form changed, right? We're on a form now.
It's a state form.
It's a state form.
The state form,
right,
which is what we have to use.
Okay.
And most of that was because of not so much the law changed, the code sections. They totally renumbered.
Yes.
They totally renumbered everything.
Right.
We double checked and made sure everything is still the same. It's just different numbers.
Okay.
So that's why pretty much the reason for the new form. Now, some of the confusion arises also. People get the form, and somewhere in there it says something about personal protection or self-defense is not just cause, or not good cause.
Right.
That's on the state form. That has nothing to do with the El Dorado County Sheriff's Office's policy.
Good. We need to talk about that.
That is our policy.
They were talking about good cause. They're going, what are we going back to those stupid three-letter things?
We're not. You know, and a lot of we were talking earlier about this. A lot of this is happening a lot. There's a lot of rumor. There's a lot of misconception out there. A lot of misinformation starting to flow out there, and I think it's people are really worried with all. We're going to talk about these new gun laws and everything else today. People are so worried that I think they're worried, okay, Sheriff D'Agostini started off this way, kept his promise at the beginning, but now he's going to start back in.
Sure, because a previous sheriff did something just like that.
I'm not going to do that.
And you're not going to do that.
I'm not going to do that. We don't have to worry about that. Nothing has changed. Matter of fact, we have made some more policy changes to make things as easier and as smooth as we possibly can. And we're always looking at ways to make it smoother, faster, whatever.
So let's address one of the ones that has always been in California Penal Code, but under a previous administration, they chose to not allow the carry of a concealed weapon on school grounds.
Right.
California Penal Code
specifically exempts that.
them. Right.
Exempts you if you're a CCW holder.
Right.
You can carry on a school ground. Now, I caution people. You can carry in Walmart, you can carry on the streets, you can carry everywhere else, and that's fine. Nobody's ever going to say anything.
Right.
But if somebody sees you with a firearm on school grounds, it's going to be a whole nother story.
Sure.
So please keep that in mind.
Yep.
CCW carry responsibly.
And you got it, because I spend time in my class. I tell people all the time, make sure what's the first, the third, carry concealed. What does concealed mean? I make sure that they understand that nobody's supposed to know you have a gun.
Ever. That's right.
So, I've seen guys, it's summertime, they're in a white T-shirt and shorts, and you can see the holster on their hip.
Yeah, they're patterning very distinctly.
Yeah, the printing is what is the new term that
you're
now.
printing.
And you can't do that. You can't print.
Or, they'll be wearing a cover shirt. They're doing everything right. You can't tell until they reach for the top shelf of Safeway.
Yep.
And, oh, shoot, he's carrying nice Kimber.
Yeah.
You can tell right away. It's like, doggone it, guys, don't do that.
Yeah,
that
happened,
go backwards.
That literally happened about 20 years ago to some poor schmuck that went in there, and there was a little old lady coming down the aisleway, and he did that. She started screaming and carrying on. I was
we
like,
don't need that. We don't want that.
No, we don't need that at all.
That happened to a guy in Home Depot. Ended up getting the cops called him. Ended up getting arrested.
Here?
Florida. It was
I was going to say.
Okay.
So Florida, you want to get on a mic if you want to comment, Jonathan. But yeah, listen, guys, if you've got a CCW, and there's a lot of us that have CCW permits from other states, because there's a number of states that allow non-resident CCWs. The same rules apply everywhere. It's a concealed weapon. You keep it concealed. You don't print it, and life will be good. So, all right. So, guys, 90 days. Try to remember 90 days. Get your paperwork in. Help them, okay, because they are doing everything they can. They are the most courteous, helpful people you will find. I was in there on Monday. They are just wonderful. They're doing everything they can. So it's a good experience to go there. If you don't have a concealed weapons permit and you ever considered it, let's do it. Call me up, or any of the other teachers. Get yourself a class and learn what it's all about. And remember that there are certain rules and regulations that you have to follow, and we don't need to get into that now, but be responsible. Isn't that the term we want to use, John?
Perfect.
Yeah, be responsible. So
perfect.
There we are. So thank you, Records, for all your help, and hopefully somebody's watching this and we'll see it and we'll get it out. But I just let them know that we're going to do everything we can.
Thank you.
So we were just talking about the best looking Attorney General in the country, right?
I didn't say that. Somebody else said that.
Was that not? We're talking about the president called her name
Kamala Harris.
Yes, the best looking Attorney General in the country, and that was like, what? Anyway, I guess he could get away with saying that. So we have an issue in California. It's a very serious one, and it has to do with microstamping. Now, you may not understand what microstamping is, and let me try to, in a nutshell, explain to you guys a little bit what it is. The idea behind microstamping is that the head of the firing pin has a surface on it in which a serial number of some type can be laser etched on that firing pin, and when that firing pin strikes the primer, it will leave that number behind. Oh, we got a caller. Well, we'll continue this. Let's see what we got. Hi, you're on with Rob and John DiAgostini.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, the sound is bad.
The sound is bad. Oh, okay.
Yeah, can you just, it's like it's too loud.
Okay, all right. Do you have a question? Oh, I hear you still have your sound on. You can't talk on the phone and have your sound on.
Saying our sound is bad coming across on the light.
Yeah. Are you there?
Now we got latency.
Yeah. And I think he hung up. Okay. We're all right. I think everything's sounding okay on our side, so I'm not going to worry about it. Sometimes connectivity gets kind of crazy, but so we started talking about microstamping, and microstamping, again, like I started to say, is where they etch the head of the firing pin, it strikes the primer, it leaves some kind of serial number, supposedly, on the brass, and she claims that law enforcement wants this. Now, this was a law that was signed back in 2007 by Schwarzenegger, and at that time there was a dispute about the patents. So there was a patent war going on, and the law did not take place in 2007. So now apparently this microstamping bill and the patent fight is over with. The Attorney General said, okay, it's law, and it's done. What's happened, effectively, my understanding is that you cannot buy a new handgun in the state of California.
That's what I understand as well. Unless, well, a new manufactured handgun in the state of California.
Right, it's new, not
new
used.
Manufactured handgun
Right.
Manufactured elsewhere and sold in the state of California, unless it has that microstamping technology.
Right, right.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
So
We already have microstamping. That's why we do forensics on shell cases, on bullets, on primer strikes.
That's right.
We already do that.
Right.
This is not going to do
anything
else. We
You know,
already do that.
one of the guys I was talking to about this said to me, he said, well, you're at a shooting range and your brass is going everywhere. What would it take somebody else to pick up your brass? And if they're a bad guy and they want to seed a crime scene, throw that brass out there.
Or set up their buddy, or
whatever.
All a bunch of gangsters standing around shooting their guns, and
Right.
they do. Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense to me. Hopefully, it will get litigated.
Yep.
And hopefully, it will go away. And it's not just on the firing pin, as I understand it. It's also, it has to be on, I believe, 2 places. I thought.
Well,
I thought the bill said 2 places, and the firing pin and the case head or the case body. I thought.
there at that time that the bills came out, there were 2 other ones. One had to imprint the case head with something. I don't think that passed. And then the other idiocy was putting a serial number on the bullet.
On the bullet.
On the bullet.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So those 2 didn't go in. But folks, if you're out there listening to us and our sound is doing okay, give us a call if you know of any gun store being able to sell any brand new firearms, because it's my understanding right now that they cannot. And
New firearm is.
what's that?
You want to tell them what new firearm?
What a new firearm is. Okay, thank you, Jonathan, our producer here, said, tell you what a new firearm is. That's a firearm that has not been previously owned by anybody. It's come from the manufacturer to the distributor to the gun store. That's a new firearm.
But would that be? But the way I understand it, is it still can be on, if it's on the California registry list, it can be imported. What can't be is any new guns on the California firearm registry.
No, that's not my understanding. My understanding is, as of her date that she said that bill is now law, everything that was new had to have microstamping. So all the new inventory that all these gun stores had cannot be sold in California.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. I think what's on the shelf is fine. It's new. I believe Jonathan may be right in that guns that are already in inventory and are already on the California approved handgun roster can continue to be sold until that inventory is gone. But any new guns that come on that roster or are new into inventory have to have that technology.
Okay.
That's how I understood it.
Yeah, I understand it the other way.
Because there was a SIG Equinox that I was just looking at.
Sure.
That I know is not a brand new. It's a new gun sitting on the shelf.
Well,
It's been there for a while.
Right.
And I could have bought it.
And they're still selling it.
They're still selling
But they
it.
wouldn't do it as law enforcement, though, because law enforcement has an exempt.
No. This didn't have anything to
It
do with
would've-
LE. No,
would've
I
been-
don't buy any of my guns
Right.
that way. I own my guns. I register them as a civilian. I wait 10 days as a civilian, as everything else. So I don't play that game.
Okay, so I don't know exactly which way it's going in California. But with that said, there isn't that much inventory anyway, because people have been buying firearms like crazy.
In ammo.
Yeah, and in ammo, it's still fighting ammo issues. So either way, it's a horrible thing for the state, and I have not been able to talk to any of the major players in our court, Gun Owners of California, CRPA, Cal Guns, GOC. Everybody's so busy in the legislature.
They're busy. They're fighting. they're going crazy.
Yeah.
They're going crazy. Last time I talked with Sam, he was telling me some of the stuff that's going on down underneath the dome, and they're running around with their heads cut off, just trying to fight for our rights and trying to stop some of this stuff. Now, many of these bills, with the exception of the microstamping, this is a stack.
This is a stack of bills, folks.
That's the stack of bills that are going to be. Some are swapping. The Senate bills are now in the Assembly. The Assembly bills are now in the Senate, and then they're going to pass because they have the super majorities in both floors. But when they end up on the governor's desk, that's where the rubber's going to meet the road. Personally, I feel pretty confident that he's not going to sign them all. I think he's going to have to give the Dems some tokens.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a feeling that the governor is not going to sign many of these gun bills, the main one of which is 374, I hope.
Which is?
SB 374, which was the assault weapons ban.
Yeah.
The new assault weapons bill.
Well, actually, that's kind of a 374 is called. Well, let's just go here.
Well, they're all part of the Life Act.
Oh,
right?
this one changed numbers. This one became a public school health center.
SB 374.
Oh, that's 174. Hold on. There's so many of them, folks.
There's 27, I believe, isn't there? 27.
I think there's more than
bad
that.
ones.
3. I don't have these in order.
SB, not AD.
Anyway, with that said, there's just, the pile just goes on and on. Now, the assault weapon one, is that an actual assault weapon bill, or is that the magazine issue?
No, that's a different one.
Okay.
SB 374 is the assault weapons. It basically makes a Ruger 1022 an assault weapon.
Yeah.
That has to be registered. SB 374 right there. Oh, you don't have very good service here. Never mind.
Jonathan, look it up.
That's toast.
Which one?
That's the one by Steinberg.
AB 374.
And I believe Hancock. Steinberg. The magazine is by Hancock. The assault weapon is Steinberg.
Yeah.
They're all just unbelievable. And like I said when I testified
Right.
at the Senate Safety Committee on 374, they're all unenforceable. They are unenforceable. There are too many of these guns out there. There's too many magazines out there, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
To enforce this. They're going to make, and I think that, I believe that law-abiding gun owners are going to say, you know what, this is it. This is where we're drawing the line in the sand.
Well, you know
We
what?
have had enough.
It bothers me that they're voting almost strictly by party lines, right?
Absolutely.
So I cannot believe that some of the Democrats out there are not firearms owners, aren't trap shooters, aren't handgun shooters, aren't IDPA
many of them are
shooters.
hypocrites.
Well, there you
call
go.
it like it is. They're
There you go.
hypocrites.
Yeah.
You know,
just,
our Constitution, our form of government wasn't set up. This is mob rule. This is pure democracy, right? When you're looking at the way the votes are going, and
Right.
you look at the supermajority and how things are being handled now in the legislature, this is mob rule. This is democracy at its finest. It's what democracy is all about.
Right.
Problem is we don't live in a democracy.
Right.
We live in a constitutional republic.
Right.
That's the problem. The Constitution says you can't do this, so go worry about something else. Go deal with something else.
Right.
Quit messing with this stuff. That's not what we're doing. We're working as a democracy, as mob rule, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse. I mean, it takes away the checks and balances. That's what we're supposed to have.
Yep.
And when it takes it away, where you have one party that controls everything,
Takes the Constitution out of it. They're not looking at the first thing they should do, and I usually have it with me,
yeah,
is, okay, where does it say in this book that we can do this?
right,
And once
Right.
it's not in there, okay, then we can do this. If it's not, doesn't say it. If it's in there, oh shoot, we can't do this. Second Amendment says we can't do this, so let's move on to something else.
yeah,
That document tells the federal government what they can do, tells the states what they can't do.
right,
Follow
right,
me?
right, gotcha. Yep,
The states have their own rights. The 10th Amendment's the state, everything not in here, that's not delineated in here and prohibited by the state, that's up to them. They can do what they want.
right,
So the feds, that's their rule book. They can't do anything that isn't in there says they can do.
right. Okay,
And the states, If it's in there, it says as long as it's in there, it's not in there, they can do it.
They can do it.
So they can do all the regulations and all this stuff they want to do. The states can individually,
Right.
because it doesn't prohibit them in the Constitution.
That's why we have so many different laws in every state.
That's right. That's right. But that's the way it was set up too. And that's why states they're sovereign, they're individual. You need three things to have a state. You have to have people, you have to have land, and you have to have a republican form of government to be a state. Once you have those three things, you can be a state. Then once you're a state, then private enterprise or whatever you want to call it comes into effect, and states should be competing. Competition is good. It was set up so that the
Right.
states could compete.
Right.
If California wants to have all these crazy regulations and all that stuff, and Texas doesn't, then people are going to go there. Businesses are going to go there. That's where competition
And
comes
that's
in.
what we're seeing.
And that's what we're seeing.
Right.
Now, when California wakes up and says, oh, shoot, we're losing all of our business, we're losing, everybody's leaving, we're not growing, we're not prospering, we're not managing our natural resources,
Yep.
then they wake up and they start turning that, then the competition comes back and the states can compete.
Right.
But the way we're doing it now, federal government intrusion has way too much overreach on the states with their regulations, trying to make everybody equal.
Right.
It's broken. It needs to be fixed. It's broken.
Yeah. It is so broken because I'm focusing. I'm choosing to focus kind of on all these stupid gun issues because I'm a big Second Amendment supporter, and I believe that all these things that are coming down here are unconstitutional. Now the problem is, okay, what is likely Brown going to sign? My guess is, almost off the bat, is anything that's revenue generating, he'll sign. That's my guess because of the budget situation. I think he's going to say, all right, we're going to put 10% sales tax on ammunition because that's one of the bills.
I don't know. I disagree. I think we're gonna see very, very few, just because he realized he's not, the guy's smarter than you think, and I'm not trying to give him all this credit.
Right. But
I've listened to him talk. I've talked with him personally.
Right.
And he's a smart guy.
Oh sure.
Very intelligent. And one of the concerns was, well, he spent so much political capital getting Prop 30 through.
Right.
That he's done. He spent it all. He got it. Now he's not going to be able to do anything for at least another couple years if he can make it through into the next term. I've talked with him. I've watched him work. I've seen it when we were 2 days down at Ledge Day at the Capitol. He came to State Sheriff's Conference, spoke to us there, spent some time with the sheriffs, and he got plenty of political capital left. And he's not, I don't see him. Some of these questions were raised, and in typical political fashion, he didn't really directly answer the questions.
Sure.
But you could tell.
Yeah.
I really think we're not going to see as many, very, very few, just a few, are going to pass through his desk. Now, we also have the possibility that because they have a supermajority in both houses, they can override a veto.
Right.
They can override a veto.
That's true.
So even
That's
if he
true.
vetoes out of 27 bills, if he vetoes 25 and gives them a token 2, they can still override those vetoes. But that's why I mentioned the political capital. I think he still has enough political capital. They won't dare do that. They won't dare do that to him.
Well, you're like a kind of guy that you think the glass is half full and I'm half empty, So I go the other way, and I just go. I look at these and I go, no, just like AB 187, which is the taxation on ammo. It's talking about a 10% gross receipt tax on ammunition. I think he'll sign that one.
Well, maybe that's one of the tokens he'll give him.
So maybe he'll have something like that. Then some of the others are just so stupid. I had always said, nobody listens to me, but I always said, for every bill passed, 2 should be taken off the
Repealed,
book.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We talked. I think that
Yeah,
we talked
we were
about
talking
it.
about that
I want to
before.
see a bill that says that.
Yeah. Why don't we have somebody put that forward? Because what I don't understand is, how is anybody supposed to keep up and on all the laws and all the changes every year? So it seems like our politicians are like writers, publish or perish. It's like they've got to write a bill. I got to write a bill.
That's the answer for everything. Whenever I talk to a legislator, any of them, with a problem, well, what bill do we need to pass? What legislation do we need to fix this?
Right.
No, I'm not asking for new legislation. Let's deal with what we have and get rid of some of these other ones that are hindering me.
Yeah. And that, I think, I don't know, I've talked to DAs in different areas. I've talked to law enforcement in different areas, and I always bring up the same thing. How the hell do you keep track of all of this stuff? And they go, and the problem is sometimes, when you guys, when you're in a uniform and you got a badge and a gun on, sometimes what you think is law, you may get arrested for until it gets straightened out. It happened. It has happened. Because there's no way their little book could have everything in it. It's
and the gun
impossible.
laws are so confusing as it is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're already confusing. Now we're going to make them even more confusing.
Yeah, the bill, I wish I could find the actual verbiage of the one that again is just incredible, is the one that makes any long gun with a removable magazine illegal.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Basically, yes.
So, with any kind of removable magazine, Ruger 1022s, anything,
all of them. Yeah.
Gone. Can't have them.
Yeah. And, I'm going to take it back. It doesn't say gone, can't have them. You can register it. But you've got to pay $19. You register it, but then it dies with you. You have 1 year to get them registered. And then once you die, it dies with you. It has to be destroyed.
So they're not going to do this joint family registration thing that they did?
No. It's done. It's you. It's your gun. You got to register it. You got up until January something of 2015 or whatever it is to get it registered. You got to pay. It costs you money. You got to pay. I believe it's $19 that the state's going to require.
Back to money again.
And then after that time, no more can be registered. And when you die, that gun dies with you. It can.
See, now I haven't read that one, but
that's in 374.
Okay. All right. Just there's so many here. I don't even know where to start. You look at these things and you go, oh man. Anyway, but
so how do we fix it?
Well,
how do we fix it? Call the governor. We talked about earlier. We can talk about that now. We talked about when you call these different legislators that are writing this bill.
Yeah.
And they say, well, do you live in my district? And you say, no, I live in El Dorado County.
Yeah, and they go,
hey, well, sorry,
goodbye.
Thank you very much, and they hang up.
Right.
I think we have maybe a little bit of a different opinion on that. I think that's kind of the way the system is set up. Rightfully so, maybe. You have in here where we live in El Dorado County, we have Frank Bigelow as our assemblyman.
Right.
And we have Ted Gaines as our senator.
Right.
They work for us. They're the ones that can't say, do you live in my district? Yes, I do. Oh,
yes.
Well, then I got to listen because we're the ones that put them in office.
Right.
It's just like me. If I get a phone call, and I've gotten emails, a few, and whatnot, from people that live in L.A. That say, I don't agree with what you're doing with CCWs. It was the letter that I wrote. I don't agree with that letter to Biden. That was, well, wait a minute. Where do you live? I live in Los Angeles. I live in Vancouver or Van Nuys or whatever.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I appreciate your position and I appreciate your concern. However, I answer to the people in El Dorado County. They're the people that elected me, and that's who I work for.
Sure.
So I'm sorry you feel that way, but the majority of the people in El Dorado County feel this way, and that's why they elected me, because I feel the same way they do. And
well, you're right. That is the way it should work. However, even though you go, hey, I live in a different part of California than what you represent, but here is my opinion, okay, and you tell them whatever it may be. I think it should be a receive and file situation. So okay, so out of curiosity, whoever's in office asks himself, by the way, how's the count gone, and how's the count in my district and versus other areas, just for information. I mean, looking at the overall state situation, I think that's what I'd like to know. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
But the governor works for you.
But the governor, it's a different story.
The governor works for all of us.
That's right.
You can absolutely call his office email his office, fax his office,
Yep.
snail mail his office.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage everybody to do that. If they think that's going on in Colorado right now, isn't it?
Yes.
People are doing that.
Yep.
He's gonna back down off of one of these or something.
Oh yeah, this whole thing in California, if you haven't been paying Colorado, if you haven't been paying attention, they actually flipped. They were one of the most progressive firearm state. You could have just about anything licensed in Colorado, and flipped the other way where they went to almost banning everything. It was just unbelievable, and the people in Colorado finally woke up. They kind of went, oh the hell, because I used to hear, I have friends in Colorado. Oh, you guys in California, guys don't get it. I have my legally registered AR full automatic weapon gun. I can get a silencer. I can do all this stuff. Well, guess what? It flipped on them. They got lazy. They didn't think that it would ever happen to them, and it reminded me a lot of the first assault weapon ban in California, because all of a sudden we had all those fractions. Remember, we had the shotgun guys and the handgun guys, and then the guys that liked the assault weapons, and those other guys said, "Oh, I don't care as long as it doesn't."
Not my gun.
Yeah.
Not my
Yeah,
gun.
it's not my gun. It's like what Ted Nugent told me. He says, "Yeah, the grouse hunters said, oh, I don't care as long as I can have my over/under Perazzi."
Right.
It was. He's right. I mean, that's the way it was. But I think the gun owners are waking up now.
There's at least
They should.
2 recall petitions right now active in Colorado.
On the governor.
Different senators
Different
right now.
senators.
Oh, and the senators,
Right
yeah.
now they're trying
Yeah.
to do the governor.
Different recalls in Colorado. Good.
Yeah, I think Colorado's going to. You know what? The other state that just blows my mind is Nevada. How the hell do they keep electing Harry Reid? First of all, I don't understand it. And I've got a couple of friends in Las Vegas, and they can't understand it. They took Nevada, which was a very pro firearm state, and they flipped it.
Well,
They're making the CCW issue more difficult.
oh, are they?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not. As far as I know, Nevada was still very liberal with firearms.
Yeah, not so much
Not so much
anymore.
anymore, huh?
Yeah, they're starting to go the other way. And then Utah and Nevada got into some kind of pissing contest, I'm told, and now they won't honor each other's CCWs.
So no reciprocity anymore between
Not
the two?
between Utah and Nevada. No reciprocity. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You're fighting these issues. So it's like...
Well, I better pay attention because I go to Nevada to do my annual help the alfalfa farmers out with their squirrel problems.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I went 3 weeks ago now.
Did you?
2.5 days. Me and my son shot 2,346 ground squirrels.
Wow. Where do you find the 22? That's one of the biggest...
I have a pretty good stockpile.
Yeah, you
of
must,
22s,
because-
and we ran out of 17. That's what.
Oh, yeah.
Really. Have you heard about the new? I'm sure you have. The 17 Winchester Super Mag.
Yeah.
When's it going to hit the shelves?
I don't know. I don't know. One of the things was interesting, and you would think it would. Shot shells are beginning to get very difficult to get.
Shotgun shells.
Shotgun shells. If you're a trap shooter, it's not unusual in a year for you to go through 25, 30 flats of shotgun shells.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been a normal shooting year for me. You can't get them. I was told by Remington that shotgun shells represented less than 9% of their overall production of ammunition, so they shut down all their shotgun shell reloading and are strictly concentrating on metallics.
Holy smokes. Can
So-
you buy components?
Well, that's the problem. If you were used to buying like Remington wads and Remington stuff, you can't even get the components. It's crazy. On the good news side, ATK that owns CCI and Federal, they're still in the game, but they're only and this is the part that kills me. They're only producing the high-end shotgun shells, the papers, the nitros, the stuff that's running you $75 and $80 a flat.
Because you know why?
Well,
They can sell it.
yeah, they can. Well, we're all desperate, If you can't get the lower end stuff, you're going to buy what you can buy if you want to continue to trap shoot, right? But
What do you mean papers? What papers?
Federal papers. They actually make.
Don't make a paper shell?
They make a paper shell. It's their premium shotgun shell. The absolute premium shell. Yeah. and it's incredible, but it's always been expensive. But now it's like $100 a flat, so you're paying $10 a box for 25. Yeah.
Twice as much as what we're used to.
Yep, exactly. Wow. It is very expensive. So on their side, they say, "Shit, we'll take advantage of this and make some money." I can't blame them, but come on. The hoarding is really killing a lot of us too, and I can't blame guys. You walk into Walmart, if you see some ammunition there that you might need, you're going to buy it.
You're going to buy it, right? And
that's what's going to happen. Same thing at Big Five. I went over there, and I've been on a constant rain check with them on certain ammunition. So they call me, "Hey Rob, X ammunition's coming in. Do you still want it?" So that's kind of nice. But yeah, it's getting really difficult to find still to find ammunition. Try finding 9s, particularly personal protection rounds. I can't find a box of Federal Guard Dog anywhere. I think it's one of the best personal protection rounds that you can get. None on the shelves anywhere. And I went to a couple of Federal guys, and they said, "Yeah, we don't have it." Hornady makes critical defense, and it's very good personal protection ammunition. You still can find some boxes of that, but anything basically hollow point or personal protection type ammunition,
no way.
Can't find it. So, but Federal is saying that they're running 24/7 and doing everything that they can. But I think part of their issues is also their problems with the components. They're having trouble with brass and primers and powder.
Yeah, I heard that the other day, that brass is getting harder to find.
Yeah.
And even raw brass is getting harder to find.
Right. That's my understanding. All military brass, not in the war zones, but everywhere in their practice zones and all that, always was recycled and sent back to the manufacturers. And my understanding now is, under the current administration, that's not being allowed to happen anymore. That brass is being sold for scrap, and a lot of it's going to China. So there's part of our problem. And then, of course, one of these bills also is no lead ammunition for hunting. It's junk science that these guys are running on.
Absolutely.
It's total junk science. We already have the problem with the waterfall. So if you want to go duck hunting, you got to shoot steel. Okay. If you want to take coyote or whatever in the condor zones, you have to shoot a non-lead ammunition. So they're going for the whole state. They're going for the whole shebang on all hunting. What are we going to use? You can't produce a total copper bullet, because that's armor piercing.
Armor piercing.
Hi, you're on the phone with Rob and John. How can I help you? Hello? You're calling me.
Hello, my name is Larry, and I have a question in regards to one that... Hello?
Yeah, Larry, you need to turn the sound off of your computer. Can you do that, Larry? Can you turn your sound off?
Okay.
You'll hear us better if you turn the sound off.
Done. I turned it off.
All right, there you go. Now you should be able to hear us.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
The question I have is in regards to the bill about long guns.
Okay.
And I have some old ones that belong to my grandparents in the late 1800s. And do I have... That bill is telling me I have to register those, and when I die, I can't give them to my children and grandchildren?
Does that long gun have a removable magazine?
One of them does.
Then, under my understanding, underneath this bill, with the bill that they're talking about, is yes, that's correct. I do not believe, unless it falls into curio and relics.
Curio and relics.
Yeah, you would have to look up the date of manufacture of that firearm, and once you do that, if you find out that it's made, I think 1890 and below, falls into the curio and relics.
What?
Larry, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay.
What kind of gun is it, Larry?
Now, yes, I am. And another question, the 4045.
You really have to have the sound off of your computer, Larry. You can't listen to both. There's a delay.
Yeah, I can hardly hear right now. Anyway, it's a 45-40, a 40-45, and then an old Winchester 30-30. That was like early 1900s, 1910.
Yeah, you're 30.
And I have family that lives. My daughter lives out of state. Could I just go ahead and give them to her before even though this law passes?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's certainly one way of doing it. Your 30-30 is not going to be a problem. I wouldn't worry about that. That one's fine. And again, if you heard me before, you need to check out the data production of your other guns and see if it falls under what's called curio and relics.
Gotcha.
Yeah, check into that, because if they're old enough and it falls into that category, you don't have to worry about it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
But Larry, do us a favor too, and write the governor or call the governor or do something to see if maybe he can veto this stuff so that we don't even have to worry about it. Copy that?
Yes.
Okay. So
All right,
basically, Larry, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get everybody to write the governor, and hopefully that all these bills that we know are going to pass through both houses, that he's not going to just sign everyone. So we're trying to get everybody, of course, to write the governor and asking him to veto these bills.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, and I want to thank the sheriff for his dedication to this county and to the people of this county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I couldn't say it better, Larry. You did a great job. Thank you so much for watching the show, and thank you for calling in. I really appreciate it.
You bet. I'm really enjoying it. Take care, buddy.
Good. Thank you.
You
Take
bet.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that was perfect. So those are the kind of questions that what we want, and Larry has legitimate concerns.
A lot of people do right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's worried, and they should be. That's why take that energy and funnel it into making those calls, sending those letters, sending those emails, blow it up in there.
Yeah.
Make it easy for him to veto this.
Yep.
Make it easy.
And you know what? It's interesting.
Stay on top of it, because they're going to do it again next session.
Oh yeah, they're going to keep at it. We got to keep at it. But believe it or not, I like to send snail mail, and I actually sometimes I write out a letter, because believe it or not, taking that little more time actually means something.
Sure, absolutely.
If you can just take a minute or two, just write out saying, hey, I believe that the majority of these bills are unconstitutional, and I would like to see you veto them all. That'll get marked. I mean, they keep a list.
Yep.
Like you said, he's a very smart man.
Yep.
And, that political clout that he wants to continue to have, both houses are not going to be, I guarantee you, both houses are not going to be all Democratic coming into the next election. I think we will see one of the houses.
One's going to flip. One's going
to flip.
Yeah.
I really think that's going to happen.
We're starting to see that happen now a little bit. They lost, was it 2 months ago, lost a chair?
Yep. Yeah.
Down south somewhere.
Yeah, and so I do believe that we might see a small change, but guys, let me just heartfelt. I can't believe that the Democrats out there, that these bills speak for all of you. I can't believe it, and they tend to vote party line. God bless you if you wish to be a Democrat and you wish to believe in all those things, but you're a sportsman, you're a hunter, you're a trap shooter, whatever you may be, you need to let your representative know, that, hey, I'm in your party and I think these are wrong. That goes a long way. That gets a lot of traction when you have somebody in your own party saying, hey, you know what, there's something wrong with these bills. And I know that there are a lot of you out there that are sportsmen, and it affects you. And like poor Larry here, he's in a situation, he's worried about losing guns that have been in his family basically forever. 10 minutes, John? Okay. Jonathan says we got 10 minutes. It's a nice thing about having a producer. He keeps track of me. Anyway, so this was definitely important for everybody to keep track of. I just wanted to make sure that you saw that this whole bunch of paperwork here is just bills in California. It's not even anything that's happening in the federal level. The federal level's got some situations that are...
The feds have backed off on a lot of things.
Yeah, they really have.
They've seen the storm that it stirred up right after Sandy Hook, what they tried to do.
Yeah, they jumped right on it, didn't they? And get all the crying kids and mothers out there, and
the kickback they got.
That was ugly.
Shut a lot of it down.
It's going to start back up in the next couple of weeks.
New federal bill?
The anti-gun stuff is supposed to kick back up.
Huh.
According to the latest rumors.
Latest rumors. Okay, so Jonathan's saying that the latest rumors on the federal level is that we're going to see a lot of the anti-gun stuff again, and
we always will.
We always will. It's going to come. And you know what? I think we got to get rid of Holder somehow. Come on, Obama. I mean, you even have to go to a point in saying this. This guy. He even said himself that he's fried. He actually said, he says, you know what? If I leave the seat, it's going to be because I'm just so worn out I can't continue. I hope he's worn out. I want him to leave. We got to get rid of Holder in there.
Everything's messed.
So let me ask you something on that we got your department involved with a little bit, that's going around out there to firearm instructors. It's kind of like, if you've been in the computer world for a long time, we used to call them the Nigeria letters. We used to say that if you send me $10,000 so I can get money out of this bank, I'll make sure that you get $100,000 out of it. Well, we're seeing a situation happening where they're targeting firearm instructors, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to get ranges to allow a group of people from a foreign country, from a foreign country, come in and use the facilities, use your guns, and do all this training with you. I got the letter as president of the El Dorado Rod and Gun Club, and I sent it over to Dan and Mary Gallagher to see if they saw it the same way I did. There's something very wrong here. I said, it's rotten fish. And then we turned it over to your department, and then your department went to Homeland Security, and Homeland Security said, yes, we're aware of this, and this is going on. So for all of those instructors out there, it's a scam, and something really stinks about it.
Yes. We call it JDLR. Just don't look right.
Yeah.
Just don't look right.
Just don't look right.
I'm not sure what the what the true motive is, or what they're trying to get out of it, because they're not asking for any money. They're not asking for anything up front. They're asking for information on when can we come out and train. And I'm not sure
the one
where
I
it's
saw.
gonna lead.
Okay, the one I saw did have involved money. They said, tell us how much it would cost for us to come and spend a week at your facility, right? And we will send you, let's say that a range says, okay, I want $20,000 for you to have the range for the week. And they said, then we're going to send you $30,000 and ask you to kick down $10,000 back to us.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's the...
So that, that's their way.
Craigslist fraud that we saw going around a while ago,
Right. That's what they're trying to do. And I'll tell you what, most of the time you can look at these letters and they're not written very well.
Right.
The syntax is wrong, the spelling is wrong. Yeah. Normally everything's wrong in the letters. This was probably one of the finer written letters I've ever seen. So they obviously got smart, got an English lit person over in Afghanistan or wherever they're coming from who was able to write a letter. And because it did look legit at first, but like you said, you'd spend a minute or two looking at it and you go,
JDLR. And if anybody, we encourage anybody, if you get anything that's asking for any information, asking for money, asking to send you money, anything that just doesn't look right, wait a minute, this makes no sense.
Right.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know, because you never know. You will never know. To us, it might just be the last puzzle piece, or the last puzzle piece for some other jurisdiction needs to put the puzzle together and make a case. And this is a funny story. Years ago, when I was a deputy in Amador County, I was working. I kind of took on some of these 411 crimes that were going around. The Nigerian help us get the money out of the bank. And unfortunately, I had an elderly lady up in the Pioneer area that did. She wired some money, and I was able to get a hold of an embassy and over there in the Middle East, and get a hold of somebody that knew what was going on, and they actually were able to stop the wire.
Oh, good.
And got them and found out who the suspect was. Now, it wasn't my case that precipitated what happened later, but with that information put together with a lot of other information,
Right.
they were able to identify a ring of these fraudsters that were doing this. And do you know what they did? The penalty that they suffered, they were beheaded in a public forum. There was like 7 of them. This was 10, 12 years ago.
Wow.
But the reason that they was because they defrauded some aristocracy somewhere out of a bunch of money. And they convicted them and sentenced them.
They messed with the wrong person, didn't they?
Wrong person.
Oh, jeez.
But
you don't
never
do
know.
that.
Just let us know and report it. I had another one that we never did get the suspects, but this one was out of Canada, and the RCMPs were very, very helpful and were able to get the money that was
I
sent.
think I remember that one as well. I had an ISP for a number of years, and we would get calls occasionally from, most of the time it was from the FBI, asking for IP addresses and things. And of course, we would turn it right over and find out, going through our logs. And that actually rolls us into probably a topic for next month. But that rolls into
The NSA?
Yeah. How do you feel about
Well,
as a law enforcement officer? I mean, what?
I got to tell you, again, you go back to the Constitution and you look at the Fourth Amendment, and it's what the bottom line is what do people have a reasonable expectation of privacy in those belongings, their property, and whatnot. And if you have a reasonable expectation of privacy, then you need a search warrant. You need probable cause and a warrant to get it. I understand national security. I understand the way I understand it is there really isn't people monitoring this. This is a computer that's based on keywords,
Right.
and if once a pattern is hit, it'll zing it out.
Right.
Somebody looked at it and goes, no,
Yeah.
no, ooh, we got something here.
Right.
For national security, if that's what's happening, they're not really, I don't know. It's hard to explain. They're not really searching anything. It's a process that takes place that can catch somebody that's going to do harm to many, many people. But you still have to overcome that burden of the Fourth Amendment. And
Right.
I do have heartburn with that.
Yeah, I do. Now, it's my understanding, okay, so cell phone technology, when the wiretap laws were written, there was no such thing as a cell phone.
Right.
And to tap...
Well, for wiretap, it's the same thing for cell phone or landline.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's rolled over now. So, so you can get a wiretap for a cell phone as well as a landline.
It's hard to get a wire. It's hard to get a wire, a Title 13 federal state wire. It's hard to get. They're hard to do.
Okay. Well, but isn't that what NSA is doing? But in effect,
They're not getting a warrant though.
No, they're doing it without a warrant.
Doing it without a warrant.
And this guy, this 29-year-old guy, and I don't have his name. Oh yeah, Edward Snowden. Yeah, who's the whistleblower, or in this case, Dianne Feinstein on Monday said that the 20-year-old man who leaked information about 2 national security programs is guilty of treason. So they are so upset that this information came out and became public. They're stepping all over themselves in this situation. Now, did I think that something like this was going on? Yes. I did believe that this has probably been going on. Is it treason to do it? Okay, he worked for a contractor that was hired to work on this stuff. Yeah, it may have been treason. It's one of those things where it's hard to... yes, it's good that the public knows that something's going on, but he was in a position where he had a security clearance, and when he signed on with his security clearance, he signs on that he's not going to share any information with anybody, and he broke the law on that.
What about with the Pentagon Papers?
What's that?
Pentagon Papers. It's not the first time.
Pentagon Papers?
Yeah.
It's not the first time.
Well, the whistleblower in the Pentagon
That's right.
Papers wasn't quite the same situation. That's going back a long time.
Well, there's a few things here. Number one, we don't know the facts. I guarantee
No,
you
we don't have
know
all the
of
information.
that.
No,
we don't have all the information.
No.
We don't even have all the information on this NSA. What's the program called that they're doing this under? Prism. Under
yep.
Prism. We really don't understand that.
No.
We're learning this much of what we're being told. That's number one. Number two, there's a process for somebody to the Whistleblower Act.
Right.
For somebody to do this legally. He chose, from what I understand, he chose not to. He chose to go another route.
Right.
And maybe he is guilty of treason.
Right.
But the bottom line of Prism, like I said, if it's a computer algorithm that is capturing these things, it's not a person.
Right.
And it's coming
But
up
they
with
catch a lot. I mean, it could be as simple as, hey, did you hear about that bombing over? And the word
Exactly.
bomb comes
Exactly.
in. It could be an innocent
I know.
conversation,
I
and
know.
all of a sudden now you're being looked
We
at.
don't have a warrant. And without a warrant.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think, you got your Fourth Amendment. I mean, they're trampling all over the Second. I guess we should assume they're going to trample all over the Fourth.
Over the Second, the First, the Second.
Yeah.
They do all of it.
Yeah.
We've watched much of it over the years.
And particularly when you got a dingbat like Feinstein. And I could say it. You don't have to. That's my opinion of her. And it's just like, oh God, where do you go with this stuff? And what do you consider treason? Like I said, she feels it is. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it is interesting to see the reaction of everybody backpedaling and saying, okay, yes, we do have this huge facility. They pinpointed this, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of square feet.
It now, aren't they?
And they're adding on.
Dollars into
Yeah.
The problem with fighting somebody with treason, that's a hangable offense.
Well, yeah, I know, but fortunately we don't face that every day. But the military has a number of people that have done acts that have been treasoned, and they've been imprisoned in the military situation, because that's usually where it comes from. But it's I don't know, it's a crazy situation. So maybe we'll next month we'll talk more about that, because it's the same thing with drones, because we need to watch that situation, because that's a weird one too.
That is, and there's some legislation going through now that's trying to legislate that. The use and whatnot of that. I believe my opinion is we already have laws on how we can use it and how we can't. Well, we already have the Constitution, the Fourth Amendment, for unlawful searches and seizures. If I could get one of those tools in my hands, I could make great use of it and save lives. That's how I look at it. Make some policies. You're never going to weaponize it. You're never going to use it for general surveillance. You're not going to do any of that. We're going to use it for barricaded subjects, hostages. We're going to use it for search and rescue. We're going to use it for those kind of things. I could use that tool and save lives.
Right.
But I can also understand the other side's concerns. Well, you can also fly it up there and see what I'm doing in my backyard.
Right.
Which we can do already with the helicopter.
Right.
But this takes it to a little bit different
Well, yeah, because this is more stealthy, and you don't really know it's there.
Yeah,
and
I get the concerns. I don't think that we need law for it. We already have we already have the Constitution that says what you can and can't do. Are we going to have some folks in law enforcement wherever that are going to abuse it? Absolutely. We always do. That's why we end up with some of these laws.
Right.
But reprimand them, discipline them. Don't tie everybody's hands.
Yeah. It's always a kind of a catch-22, because in like you said, on one hand it could save lives, and the other hand it can infringe on your rights of privacy.
Not used correctly.
Yeah. So that's always a possibility.
But you can say the same thing about a gun.
Yeah. It's true.
In the right hands, used correctly, saves lives.
Right.
Give it to an idiot, it's gonna hurt somebody.
And that's what's happening. And as we already know, criminals don't go into gun shops and wait their 10-day waiting period and do the background check. And these bills that are going to make you do. There's one in here. We're going to just finish up. There's one in here on the ammunition where you're going to have to get a license
to buy ammunition. $50, I think. And
a year.
For
a year. To get a license
to buy ammo.
And then what you have to do is you'll have to have a background check.
So the idiots are going to steal ammo from us.
There you go. It never fails. But hey, John, I know we've got something coming up for you. Why don't you talk about this really quick?
Well, this is the 3rd annual Sheriff's Day. Right after I was elected, during the campaign, we had some barbecue fundraisers out at the ranch. And one thing, this is an idea that I took from the late Sheriff Ken Blake in Amador County. It is a campaign, it's a fundraiser, it's
Right.
a political event. I am running again. The election will be in 2014.
Right?
So far, knock on wood, I don't have any opponents. I want to keep it that way.
Yep.
So every year we've had these annual Sheriff's Day barbecue out at our ranch, the family's ranch out in Mount Auckham. If you gives everybody an opportunity to come out and have a great time and
Visit with other
visit
like-minded
with other
people.
like-minded
and
people
that's
and
right.
all my supporters, and keep my campaign coffers a little bit topped off.
So we're talking about Saturday, June 22nd from 4 to 8.
4 to 8 p.m.
Okay.
And we would encourage folks to RSVP if you can. You can RSVP online at www.johndaugustini.com. That's my
Good.
campaign website. Or you can call 530-620-2786 and talk to my wife, or there's an address on there that you can snail mail it to. We encourage that because we've had events where we've had 100 RSVPs and had 600 people show up.
Yeah.
And we've had events where we've had 300 people RSVP and 350 show up.
Right.
So we'll make sure we have enough food for everybody.
Try to have enough.
It'll be a great time. We're going to have auctions. We'll have a few guns there, some other items. It's going to be a good time.
Well, I plan on being there, and
Bless you.
I want to thank you again for being our sheriff, being my sheriff, and being my friend, and coming and joining us on the show. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Rob.
Hey, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Got a couple of calls. That was nice. Let's do it again next month. Let's get more calls. By the way, watch tonight at 7 o'clock. I have opinion versus opinion going on. It'll be live. You guys are going to want to get into this one because I think we got some arguments coming up. This is Rob Charney with John DeAugustini on Old Guy Tech TV. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.